Welcome to your Anma massage. My name is Clay. How are you doing today? I see. I hope by the time you leave this massage, you feel even just the littlest bit better. So I'd love to get right into it, if you don't mind. Okay. I want to start here at the head. We're going to focus first on the muscles of mastication. Right in here, temporalis, frontalis, and then get into the neck. We will cover the front body and then we'll flip you over to the back. Alright? Okay, so very first thing I want to do here is start at the jaw. So what we are going to do is we are going to just press the fingertips in right in here, and we are going to do a very slow downward slide. So, Anma is a traditional Japanese massage modality, and it's different from Swedish massage, most Western massages, in that there is a special focus on pressure, on kneading, but more of an unconventional sort of kneading. A lot of elbow, forearm kind of deal. We have some percussive movements, and there is a focus on meridians and acupuncture points. So what I'm working on here, our muscles of mastication right in here, our superficial most, is the masseter. And underneath we have the medial and lateral pterygoids. Those are our deep muscles. I'm just using this deep pressure, just getting a little deeper each time. This can be a pretty vigorous massage. It's more therapeutic than relaxing, so it is going to have more pressure, a lot firmer than you would do in Swedish massage, at least. You might get up to more of a medium pressure. This can get a little deep. So I am going to just use one hand to support the face here, while my other finger comes in here, and we're going to sort of strip the muscles here using my finger. Now, Anma is actually over 1,000 years old, and it is derived from the Chinese massage modality Tuina. And if you've ever heard of shiatsu, shiatsu comes from Anma. So, traditional Eastern Asian medicine goes into it with the meridians, the acupuncture points. And it's treated as a healing art, as sort of a medicine, a treatment. Okay, so now we're going to get into the temporalis here. And this is also part of the muscles of mastication. I'm just going to put the flats of my fingers here. And these are going to just press in. And we have just this little, very slow bit of movement. We really want to melt into the muscles here. Start right in here and just sink into the muscle. Very slow. Really taking our time. Really got some patience here. Good. There we are. So interestingly enough, this Anma massage became much more popular in the 17th century. And part of that also really popularized the occupation for blind people. So at one point it was only blind people that could practice Anma. It's a little different these days. I mean, I'm a little blind, but not that blind. Okay. I'm going to use my thumbs here along the frontalis muscle. And again, this is going to be very slow. We're just very slowly the forehead. So this whole massage is done without oil. It's done over clothing. Good. Now I'm going to have one hand just support the chin here. I'm going to work from the jaw, and I'm going to bring my thumb across down to the shoulder. You're going to be turning your head just a little bit here, and we're going to work the neck and the SCM. So get a little stretch here. And stretching is also something we'll see a lot in this massage. Okay, now this is going to feel a little strange, but we're going to work on the SCM muscle, and I'm actually going to use my fingertips and my thumbs to isolate it. So this might be just a bit strange. Can I have you just turn your head? Okay, and then I'm going to just hold on to that. And then we will work down and massage that muscle from either side. And back up. And this is called milking the SCM. And back down. Before we get into the other side. Good. So really the only area we're going to miss in this massage is the abdomen. everything else will cover at least a little bit. Okay. And the other side, so I'm just going to hold the jaw. You might just turn a bit this way as I move my thumb down. Good. Good. If you could keep your head tilted this way, so then I can see that muscle. We can just almost pinch and roll it here, pressing along, rolling the fingers, and back up. There we are. Good. Okay, so we are going to move on to the hands and arms here. So I'm going to take your arm and we're going to focus on the hand. So we're going to start palm up, and I'm just going to place my finger right here in the thenar muscle. So this is our lung 10 point, and I'm just going to be rolling the thumb around while we do that. So my other hand supports your hand. We're just going to roll the thumb and the other way. Good. And then what we're gonna do is called stripping the thumb here, which is kind of this very firm stroking of the phalange. And then we can stretch the hand out, just pulling it apart, opening everything up. Good. And then through the palm, I'm just going to rub into the metacarpal areas. This is where we can get real vigorous. We start to see a lot of thumb kneading. We won't start bringing out the elbows and such until we get to the back, but we will bring in the knuckles here pretty shortly. So just rubbing back and forth. It's quite vigorous when we get in there. Good. We're going to strip each of the fingers here. Really pull on them. Get them a good stretch. Okay, I'm going to turn the hand over, and we're going to move to large intestine 4, which is below the thumb here. So I'm going to stimulate this point and just rub back and forth like we did with the metatarsal, or metacarpals rather. Tarsals are your feet. And then I have much easier access to between the bones here. So we're just going to rub right in between these spaces. Up and down, back and forth. It's a wonderful night, isn't it? Nice and cool. Crickets. Pretty idyllic. Some lightning bugs here and there. I've seen a lot more lightning bugs this year than I have since I was a kid. It's been really nice to see them again. And then now we can get into this vigorous rubbing along the carpals here. Quite vigorous. More therapeutic than relaxing, but luckily it can do both. So now I'm going to stretch out your arm, and the tissue in between the radius and ulna, we're going to rub into here, stripping this tissue all the way to the elbow. We're going to go back and forth here. And then I'm just going to flip your arm so I can get the inside of the arm and do the same thing. Rub this back and forth. Now we're going to stimulate large intestine 11 right here, and I'm going to use my other hand. I'm going to take your arm and we are going to flex it in and turn out here. We're going to hold this for a few moments. Just a couple of breaths here. And then I'm going to place your arm down here so that we can get into the biceps and triceps. So I'm going to use my full hand here. It's actually kind of the first time we are using the full hand. Most of it has been thumb work. We're using this vigorous kneading here. The other hand, we might get the table involved a little bit. And then I'm going to start bringing in the knuckles here. So this is where we get into the chest. And I'm just going to be bringing this down. It's very slow, very deep work. Very deep. just using my full hand. We're going to work laterally here, smooth everything out. Let's see the other hand. So we have our lung 10 point, and we're going to roll the thumb. Good, and back. And strip the thumb. Good. Just a nice moment to take a deep breath. Just sink in to the massage. Nice and easy. Nothing to do, nothing that needs to be done, save for just enjoy for a little while. Okay, if I could have your fingers here. One after the other. Flip this over so I can get that large intestine point right in here. Give that a good rub. And the metacarpals. Nice and easy. Nice and relaxing. Get into a bit of almost a trance. And you just focus on what you've got in front of you. Good. And then the carpals here. I could see your arm. I know it's a bit of a stretch here. Go between the bones. The other side. Large intestine point right here. Flex the elbow in. Bring this to the side. Good. We're just going to stimulate this point right here. Bring your arm back down, and then I can use the one hand to knead the upper arm. Then we'll be able to move down to the legs after we get the chest. At least the anterior leg will do a bit of work. Posterior knuckling here, which is a little easier when you're working away from yourself. At least you can push that little bit easier than you can pull. You're almost just letting gravity do the job here. So pressing laterally, repositioning. Good. Down, and using the full hand to work laterally, using both hands here. I've really warmed up the tissues. My hands are quite warm, your skin's quite warm, quite cozy. Let me go ahead and get a little situated. I'm just going to come backwards and we'll work on the legs. So I'm going to lift your knee up here, and I'm going to hold the top and bottom here, and we're just going to be applying some pressure. Good. And we're going to do some stretching, so I'm going to bend this up and back, up and back, and back. Now I'm just going to be using my thumbs on either side of your knee, and they're going to very slowly, just like when I was working on the face, very slowly come apart. This is just where we do a lot of stretching here. Okay, like right now. So I'm going to lift your knee, and we're going to put your foot as far up as possible so that your knee is straight up. And I'm going to hold onto your knee, and I'm going to pull backwards. And we're going to get a good stretch here. And rest. And pull back. And rest. And pull back. Okay. And then let's go ahead and move your leg down. And then we're just going to work the sides of the knee. It's a bit of a busy night for our train traffic. It's been a very long time since it's been that busy. That's okay. People have places to be, freight to take, to where it needs to go. So, now I'm going to move into the upper thigh here. We're going to use the full hand to kind of knead in here. Good. can use our knuckling. I'm just going to support right here. And we're going to slowly just bring this down from the top of the thigh down to the knee. Good. Just give this a few passes. We're going to do one last stretch here. So I'm going to pick up your knee and your leg, bring it forward here and back. On the other side, pull up the knee a little bit, hold at the top and bottom. Good, and we're just going to flex this a few times and hold along the sides. Good. And just like we did with the other side, I'm going to pick up the knee so that the knee is straight up, foot on the table. And we're just going to pull back, release, pull back, release. Might have a bit of muscle soreness after this. Going to bring that back down so that we can work the sides of the knees. The thumbs with my fingertips. And then the full hand like we did with the upper arm. Good vigorous kneading. Okay. And the knuckling. Okay, so let me bend your leg a little so I can get to the foot. We are going to primarily work the top of the foot here. So we're starting with the metatarsal spaces here. Oh my. It's almost a few times I've yawned. Getting very relaxed doing this massage. And then we can stretch and strip the toes. Stretch. Each toe. I'm going to use my thumbs and my fingers to work around the ankle and the Achilles tendon. And then I'm just going to stretch and knead the foot with both hands. Okay, go ahead and put that back. Let's do this foot here. And stretching the toes, stripping it out. Pinky toe. And then the ankle here. And the Achilles tendon. And kneading the foot. Okay, put that back. So I'm gonna have you flip over, and then we'll go ahead and do your back. We're gonna start with some nice big circles on the lower back, using my full hands, almost tracing the iliac crest. And then we can go up the spine and back down. Up, down. We can do one side at a time. These big, full-handed circles. Both hands. Then we can use two hands together, and this is going to be around the sacrum area, and we're just going to rub into the side from the spine laterally. Kind of following the hip crust a little bit. And the other side. Okay, using my thumbs, sort of stretch this out a bit, following the same path and stripping the muscle fibers. This is where we start bringing in the forearm. So I'm going to use my forearm here, and we're just going to work this little area above the hip here. This is where the table will really make some noise. Good. And bringing it into the middle of the back as well. And I can really get in flat of my elbow here, flat surface, right by the sacrum here. Using my body weight. The other side. Not even really moving too much. Using my forearm here. And then the elbow, not the pointy bit. Flat plane, right by the sacrum. So let me just straighten out your clothes here so that we can work along the bladder meridian. So I'm going to use my thumbs and go just alongside the spine, up and down. Good. And two hands together will go up and down along the lateral edge of the spine. Side. And then I'm going to use my fingers together almost like little rakes. And we're going to come from the spine and just work in the intercostal spaces. This has a bit more of a percussive quality to it. Just work back up. These spaces are not very long. Back up. And then using the hands, just kind of link everything together. Finger knead into the trapezius muscles here. And the neck. And then almost like we did the intercostals, we're going to get into the rhomboids. And this is where we do percussive back and forth movements here. One side of the spine, up and down, and the other. Okay, and then some kneading here along the spine. Okay, I'm going to need your foot here. I'm going to bend your leg up and then I'm going to bring it to the side a bit. We're going to work it in a circle while I have my hand on your sacrum so that we can do a bit of a sacral release here. So I'm just going to press down and we're going to bring your leg out here. Good. Down. Bring up. Laterally. And down. And we're just going to circle around. Good. And bring it back down. So now I'm going to put my elbow, and this is going to be the elbow tip here, into the piriformis area and move that a bit. Get a little bit of kneading right here. Okay. Right here. Good. Right there. Okay. So now last thing, I am going to do a little bit of knuckling here along the hamstrings from gluteus muscles to the knee. Just strip that out a little. And this side. And that is going to finish our massage. So, we had quite a vigorous session. You're more than welcome to take a few minutes to just hang out and kind of reacclimate to everything. Now, I am going to leave the room. I want you to be very careful when you get up, okay? Don't want you getting all lightheaded. I hope that you really enjoyed this Anma massage. I hope you have a whale of a day and a good rest of your night. Thank you.